All right, welcome back, everybody. Today I am joined with my friend, generic friend number one. Um, and we went and shot our first USPSA match, and we learned a bunch of stuff. And so we wanted to kind of share our experience and stuff that everything that you need to know, like as far as equipment, like what do you need to actually take there, how easy is it to actually like get into this, and then our experience personally, both just shooting our first match there and how it went. So yeah, would you like to introduce yourself, generic friend number one?
Um, I think that pretty much sums it up
Okay.
as the generic friend. Yeah.
Alrighty. My first order of business was how does one sign up for a USPSA match? What is USPSA? It's a shooting competition league, I guess. There's like a few different leagues out there, but that's the biggest one for sure. They have matches all over the world, but we'll be specifically talking about the US because I can't speak for, and specifically our local area as well. There's certain things that maybe our club does that others don't. So, yep, just keep that in mind with some of this stuff. But yeah, how do you sign up? You get on a website called Practice Score, and you just sign up. It's free. You go
It's a
to
nightmare.
Yeah, it's designed by boomers. So and as you can imagine, they probably want to just go bare bones as possible and make it crappy. So yeah,
It wasn't
what?
even bare bones. It was just it felt like it was too layered. Like
Yeah, yeah. It and also like computer's way easier than the phone. The phone is like really hard to figure out where to go and stuff. But you go to practice score. Um, you go to this dashboard area. So you go to dashboard, or sorry, you go to in the top left. It'll say practice score. Click on that, and that'll get you out to the main dashboard. It'll say dashboard. Go over to calendar because there's a bunch of different things. Go to calendar, and then click on the event that you want in your local area. You click on that. Um, you scroll down, you register, you put in your first name, last name, email, your division, which we'll talk about that in a second, but you pick your division, your class. So you're going to be you. And I was looking this up and just guessed when I signed up, but you is unclassified, I think is what that means. Um, so put unclassified because you're not classified yet, and then it's just a bunch of different rankings. And then if you go down to categories, it'll say like junior, senior. You don't need to do any of those. As far as I know, just like little qualifiers and stuff, so people can kind of compare themselves. Um, Power factor, you're gonna put minor, unless you're shooting in like an open. Um,
or if you're feeling powerful.
Yeah, if you're feeling powerful, click on that one. No, all it has to do with is your ammo and how fast it is, and basically the amount of power and energy your ammo has, which doesn't matter for all the like sub classes. I think it only matters when you get into like limited and open, which I'm not even going to get into those two, so we don't even need to worry about that. And then you go down to the bottom and you'll see payment amount. And if you click first time shooter, then you don't have to pay, which I think is pretty cool. And I looked that up just to see if it was just our club that was cool, but it's a standard USPSA thing, which I thought was pretty sweet. Um, and then other than that, it's $25 outside of that, so it's really not an expensive thing to do. You compare that to like a game of golf, and for like a lot of clubs nowadays, you can't even go do golf for $25. So yeah, I mean it's definitely um, economical compared to other things. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then let's get into division. Um, So the classifications that I'm going to talk about are the ones that are most likely going to apply to you. There's three that I want to talk about: production, carry optics, and limited optics. production is what you had unnamed friend number one or generic friend
Generic.
number one, because you were just shooting a regular Glock 45
Yep.
with a light, which they allow lights. So
Yeah, my gun wasn't anything fancy. It was about as stock as they come.
yeah, just a stock Glock 45. Yeah, so no optics allowed in that one. Only 15 rounders max. And then the next one, and so that's the most basic. But I thought it was cool they allow you to have a light on your gun. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Carry optics. That's the one that I was in. I just have a Glock 19 with a red dot and a light. But because I have a red dot, then I moved up into carry optics. One thing as well with that is they allow Magpul 21 rounders, which I thought was kind of cool. So you can do it's up to 5.5 inches, 5.5. Anyway, they basically made it to where either I don't know if who chicken or the egg type of thing. I don't know if they made it the classification and then Magpul made the mag, or if Magpul made the mag and then they kind of extend the classification to allow Magpul 21 rounders. But these work in carry optics, as well as you could do something like a magazine, like a 17 rounder or 15 rounder with an extended mag, just to give you a little idea of height on that. So gives you a little bit of room. But that's Glock 21 rounder is the max, the Magpul PMag 21 rounder. And then limited optics is the last one I'm going to talk about, and that one has a mag well. I think that was the only thing I could find that was the difference. Is it has a mag and a wider mag well. So if you have a aftermarket magwell, or like I think some P320 grips just come with it and stuff like that. So that would put you in limited optics. And then if you have a compensator on your gun, that puts you into open, and then that now you're competing against people that are like running like full on race guns. So it's kind of like they really hate compensators, which honestly, like shooting my Glock 19 like with an X300 on there, I don't really need a comp. Like, obviously, a compensator makes things shoot a lot better, like a ramjet or something like that. But I don't know. Gary,
Generic.
I'll edit that out. Unnamed generic friend number one. Did you feel like you
Just call me G for generic. Easy
generic?
peasy.
Yep, generic G.
Did I feel like what? Sorry.
Did you feel like I don't know any? Did you notice any? I don't know. Like, was it hard to shoot? Did you notice anything with your classification that you noticed that you compared to other
Um,
guns that you might feel like you were left out on or something like that? I don't know.
if anything, optics. I think optics is really where
Yeah, I agree.
it turns, because when, um, that was that was definitely a step above just mag dumping into trash.
Totally.
Like thinking through your movement, thinking through your I think adding movement in target transitions just makes it that much harder to not have an optic,
Totally.
because trying to line up irons, that's something else that you're then sitting there thinking about. Whereas
Yep.
before that, if I didn't have to worry about or didn't have to worry about lining up irons,
Find the dot and you're boom.
might have shot a little better.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely made first time for me easy for just you just find the dot and go. So I like that. I thought that was cool. Yeah, 100% agree. I could tell 100% the dot was making this kind of nice.
Yep.
And we can talk about that in a second. When we get into our experience, but a couple quick things to go over. So the commands are well. Let's just watch my first match one and okay. Do you see what's going on?
Not at the moment. I'm a little preoccupied with what's going on here on my desktop. Okay, let me switch over to my Discord. Alrighty. Yep, shoot.
Okay, so let's go over just to demonstrate the commands and everything. let's just watch my first match footage
DQ
on a GoPro so we can kind of see what the deal is.
Yeah. All right. Remember, you don't have to burn this down. Those guys are really freaking
for
fast.
sure. No. Okay. I'll be slow, trust me.
Just don't DQ.
Yep.
Okay, make ready. Careful when you draw that you're not drawn into
For sure.
a DQ. Okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna draw when I get over there.
Are you ready? Stand by.
So I'll go there. Okay. So we'll go over this. We'll watch the rest of it here in a sec. So a couple things. So first off, your first command that you'll hear is make ready, and that's when you can touch your gun. So you're not allowed to have anything loaded in your gun until that point. So you have to be facing, and I'm actually facing right there. Let's see. So I start off. So that's the front of the bay over here. And then to the right here is towards the edge of the bay. And what he was trying to tell me is don't draw my gun and point backwards, because then that would DQ me right away. It's a weird starting position on this one particular. But anyway, so first command is make ready. So then you can pull out your gun and load it if your course allows you to start loaded, which all except for one of them on here allowed us to start loaded. And it's standard to start loaded, but there was one match in here where we had to start, or actually two, and we'll get it. We'll show you those later. But anyway,
Must have been the ones I stepped out on.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll get into time and everything like that too, because it takes a minute. So anyway, so first command: make ready, load your gun, and you can like dry fire in that whole time. You can like kind of like it's make ready. You have unlimited amount of time to make ready. And then you're gonna step on the they'll have some sort of stepping thing, kind of like baseball, where you start off on the mound and you have to touch the stop.
For us, it was a little metal bar.
Yeah, a little metal bar. Yep, and on some matches they had them in different areas, like there were multiple, so you could start at different spots. Make ready, load your gun, holster it. Are you ready? And you don't have to say anything. If you don't say anything, they're just going to assume you're ready, and they give you like 3 or 4 seconds. So speak now or forever hold your peace.
Most people would just nod. Like,
yeah.
Wouldn't say anything, just kind of nod.
Yeah, and
guys,
I sometimes would say I'm ready, or I would nod. Yeah, like it just depends. Anyway, what were you saying?
I was just gonna say the guys typically stand right there in your ear, so they'll see you nod. You know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, they're watching you in this whole, just to make sure you don't disqualify yourself. And if you're super worried about DQing or something, they'll go over in a whole safety briefing. You have to show up early to your match to get a safety briefing if you're a first-time shooter, and they'll go over all that to make sure you don't DQ yourself. And our RO was really good about coaching you up so that you felt like you weren't gonna do anything wrong. So I like that. Okay, so make ready. Are you ready? You can nod or whatever, and then he'll say stand by. And once he says stand by, he's gonna push the button on the beeper, and it's a between 1 and 4 second random interval where it'll hit beep, and that's when we go. Okay, then let's watch this all the way through.
Careful when you draw that you're not drawn into
For sure.
a DQ. Okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna draw when I get over there.
Are you ready? Stand by.
Actually.
Definitely warming up.
Oh yeah.
If you are finished, unload and show clear. It's clear. Hammer down. Holster. Range is clear.
All right, so, and then the next 3 commands are, if you're unloaded, show clear. You drop your magazine, you rack the slide back, let the RO see your slide, and then you let it go, and then you pull the trigger down range for your hammer down or striker down or whatever. And then you put the gun in your holster, and then at that point he says range is clear. All right, so a couple things I just wanted to go over on this as well as just side notes watching this. So on this one in particular, it's a 3 round. So we start. It's most matches, pretty much all of them are gonna be 2 rounds per target, and then 1 on each steel target. So, but this one was 3. And in the middle of that, if you saw, I forgot and then remembered, and then I put an extra round in each target that I forgot. So I did that mid round because it's weird when you're used and you're training for 2 shots, and they throw in a 3, and they do that, I'm sure, for difficulty and stuff. But, and then another thing to note is you'll see these little little wood pieces right here. So you have to be touching the wood inside of. You have to be either standing on the wood or in this little dirt area to shoot the targets. And if you shoot outside of that, I don't know what the penalties are, or DQ or something. I don't think it's disqualified, but I think you get penalties for that, or the shots don't count or something. I don't know if you remember.
It'd have to probably be
friend.
probably be points, because if it was
I don't think it DQs you.
Yeah, I don't think it DQs you, and they wouldn't be able to tell which of your shots were in and were out.
Right.
So it probably is just some time penalties.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And your local matches are not going to be as strict as like a big ole, like, I think like state and national and stuff. They're obviously going to be more strict. Yep, and then
Actually,
I remembered right there because I ran back, obviously missed some targets, so I was like, oh crap. Anything else we want to go over there?
oh yeah.
Do you remember anything from shooting your first that stood out?
No, I think the biggest thing was like what really helped me feel comfortable was they let you go up and walk around first before you start shooting.
Yeah,
Down.
So the process as far as that goes is you start off, you go to your safety meeting, whatever, you have your squad that you're with, and then you stick with them and you rotate bays. At least that was the way that this match was set up, and I'm assuming they probably do it similar. And before you shoot any of the matches in each bay, because they have a different setup in each one, you get to walk through, see everything, and we'll get into the practicality of that later, but obviously it's not very practical to do so, but it's very helpful because you can kind of see like, oh, this is what I need to expect. And you saw the pop-up target right here. They walked us through us and showed us that beforehand. So we all knew to expect this because they show you this. It's not like a surprise, like you shot the popper and then that happens. So that's just if you're nervous or something like that, you'll walk through it. You'll feel they give you as much time as you want, but obviously you don't want to be there, all day because you want to get to shooting, and you have ours was 6. You have 6 bays to shoot. You want to get through them, get on to the next one, and not hold up the next group. So, any more thoughts on that?
Not off the top of my head.
I have notes in here. Be careful picking up your brass off the ground after your gun's holstered and everything, because the open guys, the classification, they all shoot like super overloaded 9mm major, and that could really mess up your gun if you put the wrong round in, or just random stuff like that. I also had notes of there are different courses of fire, and we'll watch all these so we can go through and everything. But every course seemed to have a different like weird thing, or most of them did. 2 of them had 3 shots on each paper target. A bunch of them had swinging targets. One stage had one-handed shooting. One stage started unloaded, and then another stage had it starting with a gun and a mag on a barrel, and then you had to load it and then go. So there's lots of different ways that they kind of mentally mess with you, and that was kind of a more difficult one, I think, for your first time. But it was a lot of fun. It just was kind of like trying to, not mess up, and then also go through that was kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Good luck, those things.
Let's watch the second match. I think this was one of my favorite ones. Just this. I like this one.
Are you ready? Stand by.
How'd you feel about the backward movement? Because I feel like I was way.
It's weird.
It is weird trying to keep your gun cognizant of that 180
Yes.
instead of just tucking it in and moving.
If clear.
So generic friend number one's talking about so the 180 rule. I think I talked about it a little bit, but basically on 180, you have to. It's 180 degrees this way. You have to keep your gun pointed that way, and so when you're running backwards, so the starting point is that little wood piece, and we have to run backwards. Well, in order to do that, you have to keep your gun pointed kind of like this while you're running backward, and it's very like clunky feeling. It's not, I don't know, it wasn't too unnatural for me, but it definitely like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. What did you feel about it?
Made me think a lot more about where I was stepping.
Yeah, totally. If you watch like video, and I can overlay this, but
it's like watching people clear rooms. Like I never understood how they got that autistic about where they were stepping.
right.
And then suddenly you're like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, let me go to GBRS and have them give me a 45-minute footwork lesson. Yeah, not that retarded, but you definitely are cognizant of it, and it makes you slower. And I think that's something where like people that have been shooting USPSA for like years, that's obviously something they get over. But like with our first time, that's like, yeah.
Well, and it's like I said, like it's it's really a departure from just shooting into garbage or anything else. Like adding in movement, I sit there and like, oh, I could shoot, and then actually going and doing it with some movement. That was more than I expected.
Yeah, and a couple things that you've probably noticed on both of these matches of mine so far. I went to slide lock reload both times. I think I did that almost every time. I think other than once. I think 5 out of 6 I did slide lock reload. Couple reasons for that. I forgot was the main reason to reload on the move. And that's kind of like a pro gamer move that they always tell you to, you want to be reloading on while you're moving, because it, two birds, one stone, saves on time, which is, it's true. I mean, like in real life, if, the practicality of that is important. Like if you've got a second mag and you're moving and you just dumped a bunch of rounds into somebody, and say there's multiple assailants, you're going to want to reload if you have that capability. So that's number one. And then number two, the other reason was I kind of didn't really practice for that, because I kind of wanted to do some slide lock reloads, because it is kind of stressful when you go to pull the trigger and you're like, oh shoot, and it makes you reload really quick. And I was really impressed with myself on all my slide lock reloads. I did fumble a little bit of times putting the mag in, but I was really quick to just boom, and I'm ready to go. So anyway, any thoughts on that?
No, I think
did
definitely.
Did you slide lock reload, or did you?
Yeah.
Okay, you did as well.
Yep. The couple times I did, it was definitely, you're so focused on putting rounds down that you're like, click. Oh,
Generic.
Yep.
Definitely the one time I did remember, it did feel a lot smoother.
For sure. Yeah, it 100%. Let's watch this too, because I remember why I included the rest of this.
Yes, sir.
So in kind of the process, just to talk you through this, and we'll show a clip next, right after this, but after you're done shooting, they go through and they score everything with alphas or charlies, so A zones, C zones, or D zones, which is the outside, and then misses. So like if you don't get and they take your 2 best or 3 best, depending on how many, 2 best on this one, your 2 best shots. So say I shot 4 and I had 2 alphas, they'll only count the 2 alphas, which is good. So like if you ever feel like you missed, just put another round there. But anyway, so he's gonna show you here. I actually got what's called a miss, I believe is what they counted as, because I clipped the no shoot target. So I hit both A zones. You look, I drilled it, but because I clipped the no shoot target,
I'm pretty sure they just penalized you.
Yeah, maybe
they counted as it was an A, so you got the 5 points, but then you lost 10 points for.
Look at this too.
Take a look at this.
Slamming through the guy.
Oh yeah.
Which, the hostage
Alpha Charlie.
wasn't busy being a hostage.
Alpha Charlie. 2 alpha, no shoot.
2 alpha no shoot.
Barely kissed. He broke the perf into it.
See, if you had, this is the perf. Once you cross that line,
Makes sense.
then
Yeah.
but you still get the alpha,
Cool.
but you don't. You also get the no shoot,
Alright.
which is kind of sucky. But
Yeah. Hey.
You gave that hostage trauma. is what
Well,
they're trying
they
to
just
say.
just give
you gave
the
the
scalp.
hostage a haircut.
The scalp. Yeah.
Actually, since the
Cool.
hostage is upside down, you gave him the.
Sick.
So you had.
Yeah. So anyway, that was the main thing with that one. And then right after you're done, after they're done scoring, you go around and you tape up all these targets. And one thing that I wanted to note is like some people just want to sit around and it's like you want to get the move on because you want to be shooting more and not like holding up other groups. So like just be prepared to get involved. Like I think we all got involved on our first time with like scoring everything, like taping up targets, like setting up targets, like everything we got involved with, and they showed us, and they wanted you to do that because they want that expectation to be there of like you're gonna be there and you're gonna actually help. It's a very inclusive thing. It's not gonna be something where you're gonna be catered to, which I thought was actually pretty cool, and I think that helps maintain the cost being so low. I think that's part of it, you know. So, but they give you these little brown or black or white tape, and you can go around and tape up targets. So, just wanted to point that out. Let's see. Last thing I wanted to go over, and before we watch the third match, was equipment. So you'll have either you can run an inside the waistband holster if you want. You'll probably want a good belt, and then your holster for outside and inside the waistband is it needs to be the handle of your gun needs to be above your belt line. Or above your waistline, I guess is the official. So it's like mine was like literally like millimeters off. He like carded me just to show me like they still let me compete and count it and everything, but like if they wanted to be like super technical and super anal, like technically mine wasn't up to snuff, and yours wasn't either.
No, so I didn't read any of the rules because I was just following around pores.
Neither of us did.
Yeah,
I mean, we kind of like just.
Yeah,
I
was
read
like,
the
you want
classifications, and then we were just like, all right, let's show up.
Yep, I was. I might not recommend that in the future.
Yes,
but
that's why I wanted to make this video. Like, you can watch this video and feel comfortable. Like, hey, I'm not gonna be like DQ'd or not allowed to participate because, and I don't think they wouldn't allow you to participate, but they might not count all your scores or something. I don't know. It probably just depends.
I could tell even some of the guys we were with, like, we're kind of getting itchy with like who are these guys? Like,
totally.
This is wrong. This is like that. Who's that one?
Generic.
Like he was. I had the feeling that he was like a little antsy about the rules
Yeah,
and what we were doing.
totally.
But yeah, the actual. Fortunately, he wasn't in charge. The guy who was in charge was just like, "Yeah, we just want you guys to come back," which was sweet.
Yeah, and that
'Cause,
and
yeah, I
that's the
was.
total vibe I got the whole time was like
Yeah,
they just want you to come back. And I think that like for other ROs going forward or whatever, that's something you should be focused on for new guys is just making sure they want to come back.
yeah. Because I was 100% winning the idiot spot that match. I forgot my
Yeah.
ammunition. I forgot my ammunition on the table. I had a drop leg holster that wasn't kosher.
Specify you forgot your ammo at home on the table. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he forgot to bring ammo, and what did you end up doing?
I just the RO was like, "Oh, I'll just sell you some of mine." He's like, "It's whatever," and he was even just go lend it to me, and luckily I had cash on me. I was like, "No, you don't have to like." He was like, "You can just pay me back next time." I'm like, "No, I got cash on me."
Yeah.
But yeah, so I bought some off of him, and then the one of the other competitors had a couple extra boxes laying around, fortunately, so I was able to buy some off him. So had a rig that wasn't up. Yeah, had a holster that wasn't up to spec. Yep. I forgot ammunition. Like it was on track to be a bad day for me, but they were pretty gracious. Yeah. Gracious, all things considered.
And I think you'll get that from local matches, probably. That's probably fairly the case. But I could totally see where having a crappy RO would ruin your experience. Like, just somebody that's a real stickler for all the noobs. Yeah. So as far as equipment goes, I ran a battle belt. I took my my medical pouch off, but I left my tourniquet holder on with a tourniquet in it because you never know. And it probably. Yeah. And it was just a little bit of jostling around, so I just wanted to not have that on there while I was running. But other than that, I left the rest of my stuff on there. My AR mag holder was still on there, and my drop pouch, my dump pouch, and everything like that. And people were running full on belt setups. Like most people didn't edit their belt, so.
Oh. Yeah, some of the more serious guys do. They had like every mag was perfectly skewed, like 5 degrees from the next one for just
totally
some belts that were definitely not, not every day, but like definitely not like, hey, I'm going on Rec March or I'm going to go Magnum to trash.
Well, and that's what that was kind of my whole philosophy, I guess, behind. I'm more focused on the practicality of what I'm, like I want to be able to take as much of this and be practical with it. So I want to use like my battle belt setup and stuff. Some people, they're trying to do the full race gun thing and everything. So there's different like sections, and obviously we were definitely on the more practical side especially with the production gun and the carry optic gun. It's guns that we use. It's guns that we carry. So we were, we took our guns that we carry and use, and we just stock, guns that's how we have them set up. Belt, how we have them set up. So, and you can do that. I just want everybody to know that you can take the stuff that you already have and do it. As far as magazines and holding magazines, you can have mag pouches obviously on your belt. You can reload from your pocket. You can have ammo in your pockets as well. So if you wanted to do an inside the waistband holster setup, and one guy in our group actually did, and he was really good. And so I think he was running a T-Rex or a Tier 1 holster, so he had one extra in his hip. But, if he needed to, if there was a stage that needed it, he could have run a third mag in like his pocket or something and been just fine. And then eye protection, sunglasses work, eye pro, whatever. Ear pro, no special thing needed. We used electronic ear pro. Kind of nice to hear with electronic ear pro. Ammo, don't forget. I have in there. It doesn't matter what. I was worried about, like, you can have loaded magazines, you can have it boxed ammo, you can bring whatever form you want to do that. The only time ammo matters is if you need to shoot in those like open category where you're shooting the 9mm major ammo, and then that's the stuff that you're gonna have to chronograph at the start of the match. So that doesn't apply to 99% of us. Don't forget your magazines, your belt, and mag pouches, etc. Okay, so that's. Let's watch this one and see if anything.
All right, make ready. All right.
So make
Just wanna
ready.
make sure.
You said.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna start here. So I said, just real quick, I said I think I'm gonna start there because there's 2 different starting points on this specific one.
Are you ready? Stand by.
I slipped there.
If you're finished, unload and shoot clear. Clear, hammer down, holster.
So this one was
Range is clear.
Definitely.
3, 1, 2, 0.
one of my more accurate ones. I went back and like listened to what they scored me on this one, and I got all A's and 1 C on that one, so that was a really good. All alphas, 1 Charlie. That was a good one.
Make ready.
Yeah, I think my only note there was yeah, that I slipped in the middle of that, but I kept my gun up and pointed forward. If you drop your gun in the middle of it, it's an automatic DQ, so don't drop your gun. And always keep it pointed towards the proper direction.
And they'll make somebody come and pick it up for you.
Yes, yeah, they're super like, yeah, they're definitely fuddy in their rules, and I get why, because it's probably for liability reasons, but they're definitely very like, when you're a new guy, they make you like really think, like, and so you get caught up in like thinking, and but I mean it makes it so you don't get disqualified, so that's kind of cool. All right, just a couple of things. Let's see. Experience. Let's get into the experience part of things. So I have in my notes, RO is super cool and based. I remember one time we I had a shot where, or someone had a shot where the round like went into just over the no shoot target, or like hit the no shoot target or something, and I went like, I was saying something like, oh yeah, that went into the neighbor next door, and he's like, no, that's when the no knock raid happens, and you know, those are the rounds coming through, and I was like, that's pretty based, like, you know, saying that he's gonna be putting rounds towards the when his door gets kicked in. So yeah, I mean, pretty cool people. Like everybody we talked to was super like helpful and cool, and
we weren't the only newbies too.
There were a ton of newbies. There were like 20 out of like probably like 70 or 80 that were there. So yeah, there were a ton of new people. So, and in our group, I think there was like 10 or probably 10 or 12 in our group.
I think there's like 10, yeah.
Yeah, 10, and what? How many of us were noobs? 3, in just our group.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Yeah. So.
In fact, I think it was 4, because allegedly that one guy with the.
Oh yeah.
Had a shadow or something.
I talked to him, and he was not a noob. He just went to the safety briefing because he didn't know about the club rules and everything, so he just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I was like, I'm like, ain't no way, way. But
this guy was balling out and like really throwing the rounds downrange, and like it was not his first time, evidently.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Yeah. Let's watch this one. I have on here, real quick, focused on making sure noobs had a good experience balanced with making sure we followed the safety rules. Focused on coaching up the new guys, getting us involved, etc. I think, I don't know if this is the one. We'll watch it.
Are you ready? Stand by.
No, oh, forgot. I pulled one of those. So the strat there was trying to get the target going a little bit earlier so that when I came around to shoot it, because the popper initiates that target. So that was my strat there. One thing to note on this one, I did miss one target. It's like right over here to the left behind a barrel that you had to be over on the right over here to see it looking left, so it's kind of like a little tricky one. Missed that target. On the next one, let's watch this.
Ooh, a ballerina.
Got the acrobatics.
Yeah, so this is a good one to watch. I didn't read the match rules.
Got the balance beam. We're good.
Are you ready? Stand by.
So he just said stop.
Started loaded. It's okay. You're not going to get DQ'd.
Okay.
So
we didn't start
Yeah.
loaded in this one. Oh.
Just tape it.
Oh. I did not know that. My bad.
Yep. So this
No,
one.
I should have said something.
No, you're
but my
good.
brain is foggy.
You're
'cause I've
good.
been doing
You're
this.
good. Once we're trying to go fast, you know, it's like.
So on this one I messed up. You're supposed to start loaded or not or unloaded. And so that was a weird thing for me. So you start with a mag, not in the gun, which all the other ones and I've never seen that ever. I've watched a bunch of USPSA stuff, so it's kind of a cool little thing. But yeah, so you start with just the mags on you, not in the gun, not loaded or anything. So he'll say make ready, and normally that's when you load your gun, but in this case you don't. And so and it was cool. They didn't DQ me or anything, and I don't know that normally you would, or I don't think it would be a DQable thing. I think it would be a rerun, but it's like, you know, they have to restart it, and they taped up the targets, retaped them, ran it. So we ran it back, and yeah, kind of a weird little match. And I think this one's also another 3-shot one, which was weird. Everybody kept telling us that was kind of strange.
All right.
You all ready?
You ready to go?
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Stand
Oh,
by.
wait. Do I need to hold up? Am I drawing in, or is it already in the gun?
You
I'm just
load.
cocking it. Okay.
Yeah, you load it. It's got to come from the belt.
Okay.
No, put it in your belt.
Oh, okay. Let me do this.
Hands are empty. Okay.
Cool. Good to go.
Okay. Just blow belt.
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Stand by.
Yeah, missed that. I was kind of rushing on this one, and obviously not in a good headspace after messing up. Hold up. I think I just talked over. Let's see if we can hear that. So he just said right there 3, and normally apparently they told me they're not supposed to be coaching us up, but I guess he was very kind in that instance to be like to tell me 3 in that, and it reminded me, so that's when I came back and put another round in. those swinging targets are hard. Oh, this is the one that I missed.
Wasn't sure if I
It was on this match that I missed the target. I missed this one. I didn't hit it. I put 6 in this one and not 3 and 3 because I thought I was
sure if I
missing
shot that one. So
If you are finished, unload and show
Yeah, it's
clear.
easy to
Clear, hammer down.
definitely
Okay.
easy to lose track where you are
Range
if you
is
haven't
clear.
done it.
woo!
Totally.
Transition that many targets.
Well, and that was a weird one with the 3, with the swinging, with the not starting loaded. It, like totally, you know, for a newbie, that was like a lot going on there. Yeah, because you left,
Unloaded
you didn't
charge.
shoot that one, right?
No, I had to split.
Yeah, so let's talk about that real quick. So one thing that we didn't realize is how long it takes. So we had to go to the new shooter meeting, which we showed up early because it had a stated time of when you're supposed to show up, and then we still had to wait like another 40 minutes until they had the meeting.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it took like in total, by the time I left, so you left a little bit early, so you didn't shoot the last 2 matches, 2 out the last, so you shot 4 out of 6. But
Mhm.
so I was there from like 11 to 4, so it's 5 hours. I think normally you're only supposed to be there for like 3 hours is like normal like time to expect. Mine, if you don't have like to go to the safety meeting. So with us going to the safety meeting, it added that extra time, and we showed up earlier than we needed to, because I guess
Oh, and that was something I was going to say too. Is I think USPA or whatever
USPSA.
is, yeah, that type of shooting is definitely something to practice the best you can before you show up.
Totally.
Because if you're expecting to get a lot of repetitions or like going to shoot a ton, like I shot maybe 100 rounds. You shoot for 20 seconds every 45 minutes to an hour.
Well,
like
30 minutes. Yeah, you space it out. It's about 3 hours, so it's 6 bays. So yeah, but yeah, you shoot for 30 seconds every 30 minutes. It's not.
Yeah, it's not, again, it's not mag dumping into garbage. Like if you're just there to pan through mags, you're not gonna have a great time.
Yep. And that's one thing too, and it's work. You know, you're there and you're having to tape up targets after everyone shoots, and like we said, there was like 10 of us in our group, so we're going around every target after every single person shoots, and you have to do that on six different times. Like, it's work. It's not like you get to just freaking keep shooting. And yeah, like you said, definitely do dry fire beforehand. I dry fire. Generic friend G, number 1, he dry fires as well, so we both already dry fire, and we're kind of used to practicing this stuff. I think on one thing that I put down as a note, for practicality, and we can go into a whole thing on that in a minute after we watch this, but as far as for practicality, I think where this really is practical is whenever you're competing, in my mind, and especially when you're new to something, it's stressful. And so, similar to real life shooting environments, you're going to be stressed out. And so like on something like this, like I'm like not like super stressed, like not a super adrenaline dump, but I'm like you know, it's there's pressure there that you don't normally have when you're just at the range with your friends, even competing with friends. Like, you know, you're shooting with a bunch of strangers that are watching you, and everybody's watching you shoot, and it's not like they're like judging you or anything, but like there's pressure there. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
No, it is 100% easy to get flustered, and that's
Totally.
that's how I was feeling that first match, because I was already I was
Didn't
already
show up with ammo.
yeah, I was already the idiot. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, shoot, like I don't want to be the idiot twice in a row.
Totally.
So having already looked like an idiot in front of everybody, then you're like, oh my gosh, well, if like I get disqualified during this first one, and maybe that's where I come in thinking like, man, I was overthinking every step, every turn, every shot, just trying to not screw up.
Yeah, and like,
Fortunately, I didn't. I shot pretty well, but
yeah, you did well. We both shot really well for our first time. Like, I didn't check where you were at because it's kind of weird because you didn't shoot the last two, so you're gonna be lower automatically. But I mean, I got
yeah,
60 out of 80 for my class, which I thought was pretty good for my first time. But I'm obviously not great. And just watching this back, especially you'll see on this one, like there's certain times where I'm like kind of searching for my dot, and so it slows me down a little bit. Because of just like weird shooting positioning. And um that's something and just like there's multiple variables to this as far as like where you're going to rank and speed and everything like that. It's accuracy plus time, and like as far as time goes, a lot of that is how you set up beforehand. And I'm not the type of person usually to be like, oh, I want to really have a strategy and game this whole thing out. I remember on one of the stages, mid stage, I like changed up my game plan. Like, it's kind of something where, you can also react and change on the fly. And, obviously, probably the people that do the best are the ones that are able to see the course and plan it out exactly right before they start shooting.
yeah.
So,
And that's I'm sure with time and practice you would fall into like a cadence, like all right,
right.
3 3 3 reload 3 3, whatever,
Totally.
however that cadence comes to you. But that's definitely not something that you're just go show up with,
No,
unless
not your
you
first
drive
time.
by our USPSA in your house, which would kind of be cool, but doubt it.
Yeah, most people aren't gonna be doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's as far as practicality goes, there's some of that stuff's practical, as like I said, as far as the stress and everything like that. But then the impracticality of like walking through, looking at every target, like planning it out, being like super like, and that's one thing too, where like when it comes to the impracticality stuff, like obviously I want to compete and shoot well and do well, but I don't know. It's kind of like there's a level of, but where you cross over into where you're just gaming it, you know? You go from useful stuff to just it's a game. And so that's where kind of like there's pros and cons and good stuff and bad stuff and like, So let's watch
Unloaded
this.
start.
Oh, so this was a weird one.
We're doing,
So you start with so he says make ready, you take your gun and your mag out and you put them on a barrel. And you could start in this one in 4 different places in the 4 corners of the thing you could start. So kind of weird,
2
definitely
rounds
unique.
Per piece.
A lot of
Okay.
fun.
Thank you,
Line
sir.
ready. Stand by.
Shot the no shoot right there. I think that was my one bad shot of that round. Put one through the head of the no shoot.
If you're finished, unload, show clear. It's clear, hammer down. Holster. Range is clear.
One thing I noticed is these like black striped targets were kind of tough. I noticed myself slowing down on them.
Yeah, you're definitely thinking more.
Yeah, because you have to hit them in the middle. Let's see. As far as practicality goes, one thing I wanted to note, it actually has your shooting has stakes. I thought that was kind of important and interesting. Each shot counts. Sometimes in a range trip you'll compete, but it doesn't have the same weight as like a competition. And you need to be. And one thing that is very practical about USPSA is, in real life, if you get into a shooting, it's going to be a balance of speed and accuracy, just like in this. So you're gonna need to dump rounds into someone quick. Well, also while also being accurate. Because every shot that, unlike cops, every shot that we miss, we're gonna be freaking liable for. So like you need to make sure that you're hitting your shots, but you also need to deliver them in a fast manner. And be able to drill some far shots. Like some of these shots were like 15, 20 yards away, and you saw me and we didn't show
Generic.
we're both able to drill those shots. And like sometimes you'll have to take a 20-yard shot. That one guy in Ohio, was it Dixon? Was that his name?
Sorry?
Dickens, the Dickens drill.
Yeah.
Guy in Ohio, he had to drill somebody at 40 yards, a mass shooter. So yeah, it's like there's some practicality there to like being able to accurately hit shots at further distances and be able to drill them. One thing that isn't practical that I want to note is that you're able to walk through the course of fire to have an idea of where every target is. You're never going to have that in real life. The shooting and changing stuff up mid shooting and stuff like that it's good. You'd want to have that kind of like ad-libbing and that kind of thing. G, did you have any final thoughts, experiences, anything jogging in your mind, getting the juices going, things you wanted to bring up?
No, not off the top of my head.
Would you do it again?
Yeah, absolutely. I wish it did go a little quicker, and
Mhm.
getting down there was, if it's not in my backyard, I already don't want to go.
Yeah,
But,
totally.
like in the middle of your Saturday,
Mhm.
oh, yeah, I would
That's
have,
another thing.
yep, I would have tried to hit the morning rather than the night or the afternoon course.
Yeah, we shot the afternoon, and like I said, we went from like 11 till like 4, and we didn't know that it was going to be that long. Yeah, in hindsight, I think we would have done the earlier match, so it'd only be 3 hours. So they got done around like 12:30. So they would
Yeah,
have.
they were packing out as we were getting there.
Yeah, so it probably starts at like 8:30 or 9. So pretty. That to me is like you can have the rest of your Saturday after that rather than being in the middle of it. But yeah, I mean that was something. Yeah, do we have anything else that would help a noob first time person? I guess one thing that made our experience good was the RO for sure. Having
RO, take a friend. It's
yeah,
a lot easier to be comfortable in a new situation.
yeah, for sure. Definitely was helpful. And huge shout out to Lance Peters. He invited me, just another YouTuber, and I'll link him in the description. He's the one who I wouldn't have gone unless I got an invite. Because it's always something that I'd wanted to do, but one, it helps to have somebody invite you, and then two, like he helped me figure out with my gun like what classification I was in and everything like that, and then I was able to help G out in return. I think that was a big hold up for me, and so that was another reason I wanted to make this video is for you. You can kind of figure out like, oh, I'm in this classification. If I have optics, I'm in carry optics. If I have a mag, well, I'm in limited optics. If I have a gun with no optics and I have 15 round mags, then I'm in production. And all those can have weapon lights. That kind of, and no compensators on any of those. That was kind of my main, was like, where do I classify? So that was interesting. Yeah, like I said with the RO, he made all the difference with being very inclusive and helpful, and like just wanting us to have a good experience and come back. I would definitely do it again. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. Once again, shout out to Lance. I'll link his channel in the description. He's got some video up of the same match. He was like way ahead of me in placement, and he was shooting against some serious race guns because he was in limited optics, and that's where a lot of the gamer dudes go. And he still placed really well in that match. And he was definitely, when you watch the GoPro footage of him versus me, he's shooting a lot faster. So I'll link his video in the description. And then, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll have more USPSA footage going forward. I think it was a lot of fun. And yeah, stay tuned. Thanks, guys.
Yep.